increase in addition to a planning division.
You got a hot mic. Hot mic, kind of. Okay, so we can start. Okay, it's after 6, so we can get our meeting started. Members of the public are encouraged to participate in meetings by, one, accessing the webcast at www.cityofclovis.com/agendas, or two, providing written comments at the same website, three, participating by phone, or four, coming to the city council meeting in person. I'll call this meeting to order, and our flag salute will be presented by the Sons of the American Revolution.
Please join me in pledging allegiance to our flag. Ready? Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here this evening. My name is Randy Dinza, and I'm the current president and registrar for the Yosemite Chapter Sons of the American Revolution. Founded in 1889, we are the lineal descendants of those patriots that helped to achieve the independence of the American people. The objectives of our organization are intended to perpetuate a more profound reverence for the founding principles and values of our forefathers. I'd like to start by introducing the members of our Yosemite Chapter Color Guard. Compatriots Al Ludwig, our Color Guard Commander, Stan Day, Scott Nichols, and our junior members who are also representing children of the American Revolution, Jackson and Tig Dinza. We are equally honored to be joined this evening by our sister compatriots from the Fresno Yosemite Chapter, Daughters of the American Revolution, and Sally Tripp is their regent. Together we honor the sacrifices of our patriot ancestors in their cause for independence. Honorable council members, on the closing day of the convention in 1787, Benjamin Franklin said, "I agree to this Constitution with all of its faults, if there are such, because I think a central government is necessary for us. I doubt, too, whether any other convention we can obtain a document such as brilliant as this." During the week of September 17th through the 23rd, we celebrate Constitution Week. The celebration of the Constitution was started by our compatriot sisters, the Daughters of the American Revolution. In 1955, the Daughters of the American Revolution petitioned Congress to set aside September 17th through 23rd annually to be dedicated for the observance of Constitution Week. The resolution was later adopted by Congress and signed into law on August 2nd, 1956 by President Dwight D. Eisenhower. As mentioned, we celebrate this day of our Constitution was signed with a week in which we are reminded of the sacrifices of our founding patriots and the profound responsibilities we have as American citizens. In keeping with that spirit, we, the sons and daughters of the American Revolution, are honored to present the city of Clovis with the Sons of the American Revolution flag display certificate for the flying of the U.S. flag at Civic Center Square. This certificate is presented to those organizations and individuals who fly the American flag in the spirit of patriotism, the U.S. flag code, and as a model for the symbolism of our free republic. Thank you for flying our sacred and united flag in the spirit of our founding ideals. We are also honored to present the City Council with a certificate of appreciation from the National Society Sons of the American Revolution. This is in recognition of the Council's resolute support of the founding principles of our republic, support for our military, our veterans, and the promotion and the duties and the responsibilities of being a good citizen. Thank you for being models in the form of government that is represented by and for the people. Thank you once again for the opportunity to be with you here this evening. We appreciate you guys and would love to get a picture with you.
Sure. And thank you for all you do, especially bringing your young members, because our youth need to know our history and it needs to go forward.
If you Google Yosemite Chapter Sons of the American Revolution or Yosemite Chapter Daughters of the American Revolution, you can contact us and we can help you with your genealogy and get your patriots recognized. That's my plug for the evening.
Well done and deserved.
Shake your hand. Your glove.
I was in
Thank you.
Oh,
Keep up the good work.
yeah, after 4. Well done. Thank you, sir.
And I am remiss in introducing Nico Lorando, who actually is the president of the Children of the American Revolution here in the suit. Jackson and Tiger in it, he's the president. So we're honored to have all three of us are here tonight to present to the city.
Wow.
Get closer.
Yeah, maybe, do you want to have the men in the back and our ladies?
Stand on the little.
Careful, that's good.
I know.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Her name was Nico.
Thank you.
And we do have some guests. Who wants to take the guests? This is the flag of the city. And we have challenge points. I don't know if we have enough, but especially for color guard, 15.
We have more. We know where to find more. We know who's in charge.
We appreciate you guys, thank you so much. And this guy right here made it happen, and that guy right there made it happen. We appreciate you all, but, man, you guys, thank you for taking it, we sent you an email, and appreciate you guys taking a look and,
Of course. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Okay.
Can you come back next week and do the flag salute? Is that kind of a lot?
we can do it for any event you guys want. Okay,
Good to know.
Next, presentations and proclamation. Oh, no, first, roll call. Will the
Okay.
clerk call the roll?
Thank you. Councilmember Ashbeck?
Here.
Councilmember Bessinger is on the phone tonight?
True?
Perfect, thank you. Councilmember Moanatua? Here. Councilmember Whalen?
Here.
Mayor Flores?
And I'm here. Next, presentations and proclamations. Presentations of,
We already did that.
oh, we did that. Next, public comments. This is the opportunity for the members of the public to address the city council on any matter within the city council's jurisdiction that is not listed on the agenda. In order for everyone to be heard, please limit your comments to 5 minutes or less, or 10 minutes per topic. Anyone wishing to be placed on the agenda for a specific topic should contact the city manager's office and submit correspondence at least 10 days before the desired date of appearance. Anyone in the chamber wishing to make a public comment on a topic not listed on the agenda? How about the internet?
No.
And we got no correspondence.
We did not.
Okay. We'll move on to ordinances and resolutions. With respect to the approval of resolutions and ordinances, the reading of the title shall be deemed a motion to waive a reading of the complete resolution or ordinance, and unless there is a request by a council member that the resolution or ordinance be read in full, further reading of the resolution or ordinance shall be deemed waived by unanimous consent of the council. Our next item is the consent calendar. Items considered routine in nature are to be placed upon the consent calendar. They will all be considered and voted upon in one vote as one item unless a council member requests individual consideration. A council member's vote in favor of the consent calendar is considered and recorded as a separate affirmative vote in favor of each action listed. Motions in favor of adoption of the consent calendar are deemed to include a motion to waive the reading of any ordinance or resolution on the consent calendar. For adoption of ordinances, only those that have received a unanimous vote upon introduction are considered consent items. Does any council member wish to pull any of the consent items? I see none. Anybody in the public here at the chamber wish to pull an item from the consent calendar? I see none. Anyone from the web? No?
No.
And we got,
No.
okay. I will entertain a motion for.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent calendar.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. And we got 2 ayes from Councilmember Bessinger. Okay, so the motion passes. Next, public hearings. A public hearing is an open consideration within a regular or special meeting of the City Council for which special notice has been given and may be required. When a public hearing is continued, notice of the adjourned item is required as per Government Code 54955.1. Next item is 7, consider approval of resolution amending plan check inspection services, encroachment permits, and community investment programs rates. And it'll be Sean, our staff member will be Sean Smith presenting. Hi, Sean.
Good evening, Council. My presentation is going to be nearly as outstanding as the one before us, so sorry. It's a little boring. Sorry. Tonight, I'm here to present for your approval a request to amend plan check rates, inspection services, encroachment permit rates, and rates for the Community Investment Program, CIP. These are all affected by the requested change in the hourly rate that engineering charges for services. I'm going to discuss how the requested change to the hourly rate is associated with these other programs and how it will affect both the residential and non-residential sectors of the development community. The hourly rate is the basis for charging staff time to capital CIP accounts, final MAP fee rates, inspection rates, and the basis for other staff services that are not otherwise captured in a fee category. The change is being requested only by the engineering division. The building division's rates are not proposed to be revised, and the planning division will discuss their proposed rate changes with you at the next public hearing item tonight. The last revision to engineering's hourly rate was in 2018 when the rate was adjusted to $115 per hour. This change represented an annual increase of approximately 1.75% from the prior adjustment in 2006. The rate proposed for you to consider tonight would be to increase the rate to $119 per hour, which is based on the increases in the CPI All Urban Consumers Index. As a comparison, the average annual increase is 1.82%, and it's comparable to the average annual increase that we saw between 2006 and 2018. The revisions to the hourly rate do not impact the inspection and plan check fees for residential development projects. And that's because those are based on a percentage of the project's estimated construction cost. The percentages have remained the same since 2003, with a slight change in 2018 in which the developers began to fund the geotechnical testing associated with their projects for themselves. Staff costs are being covered, and no change is being proposed at this time. Inspection fees for non-residential development projects are based on the hourly rate, though, and they are proposed to be updated. They were most recently updated in 2018, and then before that in 2006, as the hourly rate was also adjusted. A detailed breakdown of each inspection category and its revision is included as an attachment to the staff report. I didn't include it as a slide, but it's included in the staff report should you have any questions. The public outreach by staff was part of the discussion of the development impact fees, which included an email to over 130 stakeholders. The email included representatives from the BIA, Flight Control, Clovis Unified, just to name a few. The BIA did originally provide an email back in May of 2021 stating that they did not oppose the changes, and then they provided an updated email at staff's request, and that's included as an attachment to your staff report. Engineering staff was originally prepared to bring these changes to you for consideration as part of the update with the development impact fees, but we elected to wait. We chose to present this together with the updates that planning is going to present to you later. Now, if approved, the hourly rate and all the affected fees will take effect on Monday, November 15th, 2021. Just to summarize for you, the hourly rate is currently $115 per hour. It is proposed to be $119 per hour, and that is based on the average annual increase of 1.82%, as found in the CPI All Urban Consumer Index. That concludes my presentation, and I'm available for any questions.
Questions for Sean?
Sean, in general, when there are uses of staff time, is it sort of like when you take your car in, if it's oil change, it's 30-minute job. You know, if it's a, you know, transmission, it's a 7-hour job. Is this something like that, similar, so that way applicant knows if I'm coming in for this, the staff time is in general would be so many hours times this 119?
Correct, and in the attachment that's got the fee update, you'll see that the time factor.
That's what it is, the
shows.
time factor column?
Yes.
Okay, got it, thanks.
There are no more questions. We'll open it to the public. Anyone from the public wishing to comment on this item here at the chamber? Okay, anyone on the web?
No.
And we already saw the correspondence.
Correct.
Okay,
I'll, make a motion, if I might, and appreciate the outreach that you did on the item.
I'll second that.
Motion to approve, as opposed to a motion to just keep talking.
we have, we have a motion to approve, and we have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so it's unanimous. Thank you. Next item, H, consider approval of a resolution, a request to approve the 2021 City of Clovis Planning Division Feast Schedule, George Gonzalez. And Renee.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Good evening. The current Planning Division fee schedule was adopted by the City Council in June of 2009. The City Council has the authority to establish fees which equal up to 100% of the actual cost of providing services, or setting the fees at a lower percentage rate. The city maintains a fee schedule for the processing of planning entitlements, including entitlements that require Planning Commission and City Council consideration. The fee schedule is approved by the City Council through a resolution. Planning staff completed an analysis of the current cost of providing permit and entitlement processing services. The procedure workflow for each planning entitlement was updated to reflect the step-by-step action that are currently required in the processing of each application. Staff added the full burden cost to the entitlement workflow, which was necessary to recover the actual costs. The results of the cost and service analysis confirmed an increase in planning entitlement fees is necessary to capture current processing time and staff costs. And it's important to note that all the detailed information are provided in the attachments to the staff report. I was not going to go into depth unless the council directs me to go ahead and do that. The last comprehensive update to the entitlement workflow process was completed more than 12 years ago. Typically, the fee structures are reviewed annually and updated on a regular basis or as needed. The following factors played a role in the delayed update of the 2009 planning fee schedule. The economic recession from 08-09, a reduction in planning staff resources, focus on completing the 2014 general plan update and development code update, increase in entitlement processing activity after the 2014 general plan update, and a major development fee impact or update that was done back in 2017. Factors contributing to the proposed fee increase include changes in CEQA state law, increased staff time addressing changes in land use planning, zoning regulations, and new development code requirements. Examples of these include tribal consultation requirements, regional housing needs assessments, Senate Bill 743 pertaining to transportation impacts, particularly pertaining to vehicles miles traveled, VMT, Senate Bill 330 pertaining to housing production, and greenhouse gas emissions. To determine how the recommended fee schedule compared to planning-related fees in other cities, staff collected schedules from the following cities: Fresno, Modesto, Merced, Redding, Turlock, Roseville, and Visalia. Staff found that each of the recommended fees are within the range of the comparators' cities. The city of Fresno is generally viewed as Clovis's primary comparator by the development community. The hypothetical project below shows specific entitlement types and their associated fees and the total cost between the City of Clovis and the City of Fresno. So the hypothetical project here is a 100-lot, single-family residential development on 40 acres. It involves 4 entitlements and CEQA. The 4 entitlements are a general plan amendment, a rezone, a plan development permit, the tract map itself, and, for example, a mitigated negative declaration in this case. As seen here on the screen, the current City of Fresno fees, it brings it in at just under $72,000 for that, for the planning fees for this project, compared to our proposed fees, which will come just over $68,000. So a little over $3,000 less than the City of Fresno currently. Over 1,200 email notifications of the proposed 2021 fee schedule was sent out to a developer contact list. Staff also provided the BIA with the proposed 2021 fee schedule update for their review and comment in June of this year. In August of this year, staff formally received a comment letter from the BIA recommending that fee increases in the following categories are implemented in 2 phases, half now and half in a year. The specific categories mentioned by the BIA are site plan reviews, all types, including residential and commercial. Tentative tract maps, those requiring only planning commission consideration. Tentative tract maps requiring both planning commission and city council consideration. Variances, all types, and rezoning, all types. The BIA's request to phase in specific fee increases is an alternative that the City Council may direct staff to implement. However, staff is now recommending this approach for the following reasons. The fee has not been adjusted for more than 12 years. The city has not been collecting fees sufficient to cover permit and entitlement processing services for several years now. Phasing in the fees will further delay the collection of fees which fully cover current costs. And finally, the full fee amounts are comparable with the City of Fresno, which is Clovis's primary comparator. And the graph before you here demonstrates the 6-year average of entitlement fee revenue that we have collected on 6 specific entitlement types. And those entitlements are in the bottom there. There are site plan reviews, residential site plan reviews, parcel maps, tract maps, variances, and rezones. The bars in orange are revenues that we collected using the current fee schedule. So therefore, the fees that we've collected and the 6-year average for site plan reviews is $187,000. And I'm moving from left to right, $140,000 for residential site plan reviews, $18,000 for parcel maps, $81,000 for tentative tract maps, $11,000 for variances, and $77,000 for rezones. If we were to implement the 2021 fee schedule, the additional revenue are in gray above the orange bars. So therefore, for site plan reviews, the additional revenue would be $64,000. And moving from left to right, $11,000 for residential site plan reviews, $22,000 for parcel maps, $29,000 for tract maps, $8,000 for variances, and $105,000 for rezones. Staff recommends, therefore, this evening that the City Council approve the 2021 City of Clovis Planning Division fee schedule per Attachment 1. Moving forward, staff will review future fee schedules or fee studies on a regular basis and bring updated fee schedules back to the Council for consideration. That concludes my presentation, and I'm available for any questions.
Questions for George from the council? Wong?
I think what I see that we have done well on, I think with any increase, service to whoever is requesting whatever our services are, the quality of service should always be maintained. And I think that is something in which is reflected. And sometimes I think what we don't see in here is an application potentially may generate more work for our staff because of residents coming in to request answers, emails going out, and that's not even reflected. And it may not even be able to be, we can potentially put down, hey, we spent this extra hours helping with this project, but it may even be more than what we're collecting. And so that should not change the way we serve our residents. And I think that we won't change because of it. And with 12 years phasing in, I think that's important. The other thing I wanted to say is, so one, the quality, I know we'll maintain. The second is we have such good collaboration between our departments that when an applicant comes and requests one of these, we're all there together to help the applicant get to a resolution. Where if you look at whatever other jurisdictions are charging, they're not getting that type of service like Clovis gives them, where we have fire there, we have police there, so in other words, potentially we could be charging for all those too, but we're not. We're giving them that type of service, and all you're collecting is your fee in planning itself. And so I think that I wanted to state that publicly to show the public that it is an increase, but we are going to maintain that type of service to everyone who comes and use our services here. And I wanted to reiterate that to you, Renee, as you lead that. And also to our city manager, that's how we will continue to serve. And it's been 12 years since we've done it, and I think it's due. So, thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Just the only comment I would make, I think there's a cost to the time factor. I agree with Long. The time to sort of permit or plan check or whatever, I think it should factor in at least in some tables, right? Because comparing to other cities around us, 7 days or 2 weeks or whatever it is compared to other cities where we hear much longer stories. So I wouldn't underestimate the cost savings to a customer because we can do it in much less time. Having said that, though, I am super troubled that we don't do this more than once every 12 years. So I'm actually not inclined to do it all right now because I think it's like a lot. And in some ways, like we've got to, you said, George, we'll assure that we'll come back or we'll have a process. I have 110% faith in you. I want to know what that is because 12 years is like totally un-okay. So I'm fine with the amounts, but I don't think we wouldn't put this kind of increase on any other customer in our city. So I'm not comfortable doing it to the building. I didn't hear from a single builder, so I don't know besides their letter in here. So I just we need to make sure we are confident that we'll be back more than once every 12 years. So I'd add the time value, because that's a savings. That probably offsets any fee increase. But I'd be inclined to do half now, and even half in 6 months, or half whatever. But I just don't think somehow saying to somebody it's a 150% increase doesn't feel quite fair.
Well, George, I appreciate the comparison between Fresno, and I agree it's probably a good comparison, and us. And so the million-dollar question is, how long has Fresno had those fees?
Since July or August of 2020.
So a whole year. So in that sense, the building industry, who uses these fees the most, have had a Clovis discount for a whole year.
Or 12.
Well, but
Comparative, yes.
But compared to the Fresno fees, that portion is 12 months worth of discount, not to mention the other 8 years of more discount. So I would push back on your saying that, no, this is too much too soon. No, it's not enough. Because if you see the comparison, we're still under Fresno. So they're still getting a discount. So I think our staff's being generous to the industry. So I would say no, it is due. I don't agree that we should have waited this long. I hear the reasoning behind it, but we shouldn't do that to our clients because that's what they are. And I hope that promise that we'll do this in a more reasonable basis is kept. And any more questions?
Mayor, if I may, I want to respond to Councilman Member Montua's comments. When I do appreciate the comment about staff's involvement in providing a quality service, everyone in PDS definitely puts that foot forward and puts the time in, and that won't change. I do want to make sure that you understand the workflow analysis that went into calculating the fees. We look at the time across the board, not just within PDS, but we also look at the other departments, and there is an allocation that is made to the other departments in their time. For example, public utilities and fire, and then they get a percentage of what's collected, so they are realizing that. But to go a little bit further, we do hold DRCs where we've got multiple departments participating. That's a service we provide free of charge. We have a current apps weekly where the other departments come and we review projects, we talk through what could be problematic, how we could problem solve. So it really is collaborative, and none of that is going to change.
Any questions, Drew?
Yeah, Jose, I guess I want to make one comment. When you're talking about Fresno as a competitor, I think we probably should just be very clear that we're comparing the fees, we're not competing. I think we both have the same group of people that we utilize, and we're not in competition.
Okay, the feedback's kind of interfering with our communication here. Okay, I hope people understood that. Thank you. Okay, at this point, I'll open it to the public. Anyone from the public here at the chambers wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, I'll move it to the web. Anybody online wishing to comment?
No.
And we've got the correspondence from BIA. That's the only correspondence we received?
Correct.
Okay, so I'll bring it back to the council. What is your pleasure?
I'll move that we approve the increases and that they actually take effect immediately as opposed to a delay.
And I'll second that.
I shouldn't say immediately, but in the appropriate time that the statute calls for.
And that's your second? So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those against?
No.
Okay, so the motion passes 4-1. Okay, go on to city manager's comment. Luke?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. We're kind of back in this. I know we thought we were past the COVID graphs, but I wanted to just show you what's happening recently. And there's two ways that the state reports it. They report it out as the numbers when the event occurred. The episode date is when the confirmed case was, when it happened. And they also report it out as confirmed cases as when it got reported to the state. And I actually have both graphs up here because there are some differences between them. As would be expected, there is a bit of a lag from the time when someone actually gets COVID to the time when the report is made to the state. So the graph on the left is when it occurred, and the graph on the right is when it's reported. But the good news is, so the dark black line is Fresno County, and kind of the underlying dark gray line is the state numbers and these are on a per capita basis. So, we're not out of the woods yet. A lot could happen, but on both the occurrence dates, the episode date, and the reported date, the numbers are trending down. And that's good news, which if they continue this way, it looks like this wave is going to have about the same duration as the previous two waves, and we'll see what happens after that. But I wanted to show you that just to kind of give you an idea of the difference between the occurrence and the reporting time and how the graphs differ a little bit. As you can see, there's some spikes in the reported date, because a bunch got reported all at once that didn't occur other times. So I want to show you that. That's the confirmed COVID cases, and this next set of graphs are the same for the deaths. And again, the dark black line is Fresno County on a per capita basis. The dark gray line is the state's 7-day average. The graph on the left is when the death actually occurred. The graph on the right is when it was reported. As you can see, there's still a lot of pending. There's more uncertainty in the actual occurrence date because they're still trying to get all the paperwork in. But again, both of these appear to be trending downward, which would be good news. The other thing that is, the other thing you can take out of this too is that if the graphs continue, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, but the deaths in the third wave are less than the deaths in the first wave, even though the cases in the third wave are higher than the cases in the first wave. And I think that is due to a number of factors. One is obviously the vaccines. I think the latest data I showed that unvaccinated, you were about 10 times as likely to die of the disease as a vaccinated individual. And we have the vaccines for this wave, so even though the cases are out there, much less lower rate of death amongst those people. Next slide. And
what everybody forgets to mention is those that had natural immunities, people who survived COVID prior to this. And that's, I mean, studies out of Israel and other places are saying that people who had the actual natural COVID disease and survived it are as vaccinated or have that active immunity as even better than being vaccinated. I mean, and no one mentions that.
And then this is the hospital graph, the hospitalizations graph that I've been presenting since this whole thing started 18 months ago. The blue line is the number of hospitalized patients in Fresno County. The red line is the ICU patients in Fresno County. Again, it's early, but it looks like those are starting to trend downward too, which would certainly be good news. So I just wanted to give you an update on that. I'll kind of continue to do that as we get through this third wave. Hopefully these, a week from now, these numbers are continuing to trend downward, and we'll keep an eye on it. And that really concludes all my comments for this evening.
Thank you. Okay, next is council comments. Drew, let's try with you.
Okay, I am planning on being back next week, so we don't have to do this again. That's all.
Okay, Long? Bob? Lynn?
Just really quickly, just want to acknowledge the passing of Don Schroyer, longtime Clovis Unified leader, active in the Community Hall of Fame, Spirit of Clovis winner. So he passed in July, so just wanted to publicly acknowledge his passing and send our thoughts to his family. And the other side of that is a really silly thing to say, but to Scott and your team and to Luke, thanks for picking up the desk. I had more people say, hey, the desk is gone. So I sent Luke a before and after photo with the desk and without. So nice job, team. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And for me, my appreciation to all Clovis staff that participated in the 9/11 commemoration on Saturday. Thank you for helping that foundation to put that on. It was awesome celebration or commemoration of the events 20 years ago, and we shouldn't forget. Andy in Solano had a beautiful thought that he was the only one that actually had a speech that day, and I like that they kept it kind of short. But everybody says never forget, but it's open to interpretation. Some kind of negative, like vengeful and angry, and let's go get them, that kind of stuff. And others, reminds us to never forget the victims and the heroes. But his was never forget to say I love you to those, because those people never had another chance to do that. And so that was pretty beautiful concept. I had never heard it said that way. And so I guess he doesn't live here anymore. Florida.
when he came back for the.
He came back just, instead of going to New York where, all these events occurred, he came here. So kudos to the Cook family and all those who are part of that foundation for, again, putting Clovis on the map. And that's all I have. And we're adjourned.
I love you.
I love you too.
In the spirit of